Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Speak English Daily. I'm Emma, and before I tell you what we're going to do today, I want to say something to you directly. You clicked on a 1-hour video out of everything you could be doing right now. Scrolling social media, watching Netflix, checking your phone. You chose to spend an hour here. You know what that tells me? That tells me two things. First, you're tired. Tired of feeling stuck. Tired of studying English for years and still feeling stuck. But here's the second thing, and this is the important part. It tells me you're not a quitter. It tells me that even though English feels hard sometimes, even though you've probably tried 100 different methods and felt frustrated, you keep going. You keep showing up. You keep trying. You chose a 1-hour commitment to your English today. Not a 5-minute shortcut, not a quick tip, but a real full hour of your life. That takes courage. That takes dedication. That takes someone who really wants to speak English. And you know what? That tells me you're already winning. Because here's the truth. The students who improve the fastest aren't the smartest ones. They're the ones most committed. They're the ones who show up even when it's hard. They're the ones like you. Maybe you're in a meeting at work and your boss asks your opinion and you want to speak English, but your mind just freezes. Maybe you're on a date and the other person speaks English and you have so much to say, but the words won't come out naturally. Maybe you're scrolling through social media and you see someone speaking English so easily, so naturally, like they're not even thinking. And you wonder, why can't I do that? I know that feeling because I've seen it in thousands of my students. And here's what I discovered. It's not because you're not smart. It's not because you're not studying hard enough. You already are studying hard. You already are showing dedication. The problem isn't your effort. The problem is the method. Most English teachers will teach you grammar rules. They'll give you vocabulary lists. They'll tell you to do exercises, but they won't teach you the one thing that actually changes your brain, the one thing that makes English feel automatic instead of stressful, the one thing that lets you speak without thinking. And that one thing, it's not complicated. In fact, it's how babies learn language. It's how native speakers learned English without studying at all. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that is. But I'm not going to teach you from a classroom. Instead, I'm going to take you with me to a place most tourists never see. A real fishing village in Maine. You're going to meet a real lobsterman named Jack. You're going to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning with him. You're going to watch him work. You're going to hear him talk about his family, his traditions, his dreams. You're going to listen to real conversations with real people who have real emotions. And your brain is going to do something amazing. It's going to start thinking in English automatically. Not because you're memorizing, not because you're studying, but because you're living. This next hour, it's not a lesson. It's an experience. It's an adventure. It's real English from real life. And when you finish listening today, something will shift. You will be the same English learner you were before. Because you'll understand, English isn't something you learn from textbooks. English is something you live. Your dedication has brought you here. Your commitment is about to pay off. So I want to ask you, Are you ready? Are you ready to step out of the classroom and into real life? Are you ready to meet Jack and Margaret and Ed and other real people who will teach you more in 1 hour than you've learned in months of studying? Are you ready to feel English, not just study English? Are you ready for your English to finally make the shift you've been working toward? If yes, then I'm so glad you're here, and I promise you, your English is about to transform. Let's begin. I'm arriving at Rockland Harbor, Maine. The sun is setting over the Atlantic Ocean, and the sky is painted in orange and pink. Maine is on the northeastern coast of America. It's known for one thing more than anything else: lobster. But this isn't just food here. Lobster is a way of life. Lobster is culture. Lobster is identity. I pull into the small harbor town of Rockland. Population, 7,000 people. The town is quiet and peaceful. Working fishing boats are tied up. At the dock, some are red, some are blue, some are white with colorful stripes. Each boat has a colorful buoy attached to it. These buoys are like the boat's identity. No two fishermen use the same pattern or color. It's how they recognize their own traps in the water. I see my friend Jack waiting for me by the dock. Jack is a fourth-generation lobsterman. That means his great-grandfather was a lobsterman. His grandfather was a lobsterman. His father was a lobsterman. And now Jack is a lobsterman. For 150 years, Jack's family has worked these waters. Emma, welcome to Maine, Jack says with a big smile. He gives me a warm hug. Jack, I'm so happy to be here. The harbor is beautiful. Wait until you see it at 4:30 in the morning, he laughs. That's when the real work begins. We walk to his truck, a pickup truck, which is very common in Maine. It smells like salt and fish bait. Tomorrow you wake up very early? Jack asks. Yes. What time? 4 o'clock. We go out on the water before the sun comes up. We start hauling traps at 5 o'clock. You ready for that? I'm a little nervous. 4 o'clock is very early. But I nod. I'm ready. We drive through the quiet streets of Rockland toward Jack's house. The houses are old, built 100 years ago, some even older. They have white wood siding and colorful front doors, blue, red, green. This is classic New England coastal architecture. These houses, Jack explains, were built by fishermen who made money from lobster and fish. Now their great-great-grandchildren live in them. It's our heritage. Our history is built right into our homes. We arrive at Jack's house. It's a beautiful old house painted white with a dark green door. A rope wreath hangs on the door, made from actual rope, the kind used on fishing boats. Jack's wife, Margaret, is waiting inside with hot coffee and warm homemade pie. Welcome, Emma, Margaret says. You must be tired from your drive. Come sit, have some pie. The kitchen smells amazing. The coffee is strong and hot. The pie is apple pie with vanilla ice cream melting on top. This is heaven, I say, taking my first bite. Margaret laughs. That's Maine for you. Simple food made with love. We sit around the kitchen table and talk. Jack tells me about his day on the water, how many lobsters he caught, where he set his traps, which other fishermen he saw. This is the language of Maine lobstermen, talking about the ocean, the catch, the weather, the traditions that connect them all. Tomorrow, Jack says, you'll see what we do. You'll understand why I wake up at 4 o'clock every morning. Why I love this job, why my children might do this job too. That night, I sleep in Jack's guest bedroom. The window faces the ocean. I can hear the waves. The sound is peaceful and constant. It's the sound of Maine. It's 3:45 a.m. My alarm goes off. The house is dark and quiet. Everyone is still sleeping. I get out of bed carefully. The wooden floor is cold under my feet. I get dressed in warm clothes, jeans, a thick sweater, and a waterproof jacket. May mornings are cold, even in the summer. I wash my face with cold water and drink a glass of water. No time for coffee yet. At 4 a.m. exactly, Jack is waiting for me in the kitchen. He's already dressed in his work clothes, rubber boots, waterproof overalls, and a wool hat. You sleep okay? He asks. A little, I admit. I was excited and nervous. Good, that's the real fisherman feeling, Jack laughs. We drive to the harbor in the dark. The streets are empty. The only people awake are other lobstermen driving to the harbor. At the harbor, there are dozens of boats. The sky is still dark, but it's starting to get lighter on the horizon. I notice something beautiful. All these boats are named after women. Margaret's Pride, Sarah's Dream, Helen's Fortune. I ask Jack about this. Tradition, he explains, as we walk to his boat. Old superstition from the sea. Fishermen believe that if you name your boat after someone you love, your wife, your mother, your daughter, the boat will be blessed. It will be protected. The woman's love protects the fisherman on the water. Do you believe in that? I ask. Jack smiles. I believe in traditions. My father named his boat after his wife. My grandfather did the same. Me, I named mine. After Margaret, and in 30 years, I've never had a serious accident. I've been out in storms that sank other boats, but Margaret's Pride brought me home safe every single time. He pauses. So yes, I believe. Jack's boat is called Margaret's Pride, named after his wife. We climb into the boat. Jack starts the engine. It makes a loud diesel sound. Vroom. Other boats are doing the same. The harbor is full of the sound of engines. It's a symphony of hard work beginning. As we pull away from the dock, the sun is starting to rise. It's 4:45 a.m. The ocean is calm. The water is dark and mysterious. The sky is turning from black to deep blue to purple. I stand at the front of the boat, the bow, and feel the cold air on my face. Salt air, ocean air. It smells different than anywhere else in the world. We head out into the open water. How far? I ask Jack. About 3 miles, Jack answers. That's where I keep my traps today. You have different trap locations? I ask. Every day different. Jack explains. Lobsters move. Temperature changes. Storms come. Currents change. I move my traps based on the ocean, not just habit. My grandfather taught me to read the ocean like a book. You watch the color of the water, the movement of the waves, the birds. Birds know where the fish are. You feel the weather changing in your bones. Jack points to different areas. This area, too cold this week. This area, too many traps from other fishermen. This area is perfect today. For 20 minutes, we're the only people awake in the world. Just me, Jack, and the Atlantic Ocean. I watch Jack. His hands are big and rough, scarred for rope. His face is weathered from wind and sun, but his eyes are young, sharp, alert, always scanning the water. Then I see Jack's first buoy. It's bright yellow and white, his colors. There, I point. Good eyes, Jack says. You're a natural lobsterman. Jack moves the boat slowly toward the buoy. He grabs it with a long hook, a gaff hook. He pulls up the rope, hand over hand he pulls. The rope is heavy and wet. Then the trap appears. It's a rectangular cage made of wire and wood. It's about 4 feet long. Inside the trap, I see lobsters, real lobsters. They're dark green and brown. Their claws are moving, clicking against the cage. Beautiful, I say. Jack reaches into the trap. Carefully, he pulls out a large lobster. This one is a good size, he explains. We can keep this one. He shows me how he measures the lobster. There's a special measuring tool, a gauge. The lobster must be a certain size, not too small, not too big. Minimum size is 3.25 inches, Jack explains. Maximum is 5 inches. Anything outside that range goes back. Why? I ask. If lobster is too small, we return to the ocean, Jack explains. She's still a baby. She needs to grow. Maybe someday another fisherman will catch her when she's big. Maybe her children will grow up in this ocean. He gently places the lobster into a container full of water. Then he reaches in again. This time, he pulls out a smaller lobster. This one is too small, he says. She goes back to the ocean. Jack holds the small lobster gently in his hand. He walks to the edge of the boat and carefully places her back in the water. "Goodbye, little one," he whispers. I'm surprised by the respect Jack has for these creatures. To him, lobsters aren't just money. They're living beings. They're part of the ocean he loves. I ask him, Jack, most fishermen would probably keep the small ones and sell them too. Why do you let them go? Jack looks at me seriously. Because if everyone keeps the small ones, there will be no big ones in 10 years. No industry, no traditions, no future for my son. These small lobsters, they're the future. My responsibility is to protect them. This is sustainable fishing. This is what respects the ocean. Jack rebaits the trap. He takes a plastic bag, smells terrible, and puts it inside the trap. Fish bait, he explains. We use mackerel. Lobster love mackerel smell. Dead fish. Attracts live lobsters. Funny how that works. He closes the trap. Now we pull it back down, Jack says. He throws the trap off the side of the boat. It splashes into the water and sinks. The rope follows it. We move to the next buoy. For the next 4 hours, Jack does this over and over. Pull, check, measure, keep or release, rebait, drop. 50 times, 100 times. My muscles ache just watching him. My hands are cold. My face is wet from salt spray. But Jack is smiling the whole time. This is his passion. This is his meditation. Out here, on the water, there's no stress, no politics, no complexity, just him and the ocean and the rhythm of work. Around 8 a.m., Jack's boat is full. We have about 150 lobsters. Good morning, Jack says. This is a good catch. We head back to the harbor. As we're returning, I asked Jack, why do you love this job? It's so hard. The hours are so early. The work is so physical. You could do something easier. Jack thinks for a moment, looking at the ocean behind us. The sun is higher now, turning the water gold and blue. You know, he says, slowly. My grandfather taught me this when I was a boy. He said, Jack, the ocean is alive. The lobsters are alive. Your family is alive. All of this is connected. When you respect the ocean respects you. I thought he was being poetic, but now I understand. When I protect small lobsters, when I don't take too many, when I fish responsibly, the ocean provides for my family. My father did this for 50 years. I'm doing this for 30 years. Maybe my son will do this someday. Maybe my grandchildren. That's legacy, Emma. That's something that matters. But more than that, I'm free. Out on this water, I'm free. No boss telling me what to do. No office, no meetings, no politics. Just me and the ocean and my traditions. This is freedom. His eyes are sincere. This isn't a job to Jack. This is his life. This is his identity. This is his soul. We return to the harbor at 9 a.m. A truck is waiting to pick up the lobsters. A man named Thomas works for the local lobster cooperative. Thomas and Jack know each other for 30 years. They went to school together. Good morning, Jack, Thomas shouts. Morning, Thomas. 150 pounds today. Thomas measures and weighs the lobsters. He writes on a clipboard. Good price today, Thomas says. Market is strong. Jack nods. He doesn't show much emotion, but I can tell he's happy. We unload the lobsters into the truck. They'll go to a processing facility, then get shipped all around the world. Maybe to New York, maybe to Japan, maybe to Europe. One lobster from Maine Ocean becomes dinner in Paris, France. After that, Jack takes me to breakfast. We walk to a place called Harbor View Cafe. It opens at 4:30 a.m. for fishermen. A cafe is small and simple. Red vinyl booths, checkered floor, fishing photos on the walls, boats, fishermen, big catches from 50 years ago. One photo shows Jack's father on his boat holding a massive lobster. Below it says, 1987, best catch of the year. That's my father, Jack points. He was 35 years old when that photo was taken. Best year of his life for fishing. Is that the boat you use now? I ask. No, Jack says. His boat is retired now. She's in the museum, the Lobster Museum in Rockland. They preserved it because it was built in 1956. It's a classic wooden boat, built by hand. Takes 3 months to build one boat like that now. Back then, they built them in communities, everyone helping. This is love, I say, looking at the photo. This is life, Jack corrects gently. Fishing isn't just work for us. It's identity. It's family. It's who we are. Inside the cafe, I see 5 or 6 boat captains. They're all men, mostly older. They're eating eggs, bacon, toast, coffee. They're talking about the ocean, the weather, the lobsters. One old man, must be 70 years old, sees Jack. Jack, heard you had a good haul today. News travels fast in a small fishing community. We sit in a booth. Jack orders the fisherman's special. Eggs, bacon, toast, and coffee. I order the same. While we wait, Jack tells me stories. Stories about his father. Stories about storms on the water. Stories about lobstermen who became legends in Maine. You know, Jack says, my grandfather had a rule. He said, never name your boat after your wife. You know why? Why? I ask. Jack smiles. He said, because wives can come and go, but the boat is forever. Margaret heard him say that when she was young. She laughed, but she married me anyway. The food arrives, eggs are warm and soft, bacon is crispy, toast is warm with butter, coffee is strong and hot. I'm exhausted for waking up at 3:45 a.m., but the food gives me energy. After breakfast, we go to the lobster pound, Jack says. You need to see where the lobsters stay before they go to restaurants. The lobster pound is a working facility right on the water. It's where lobsters live in big tanks of flowing seawater before they're shipped to customers. Jack's friend Paul works there. Paul shows me the tanks. Thousands of lobsters, some in big holding tanks, some in shipping crates, ready to go. How long do they stay here? I ask. Few days to few weeks, Paul explains. We keep the water cold. We keep them healthy. When restaurant call an order, we pack them up and ship overnight. Very important they stay alive and fresh. One tank has special label, for dinner tonight in Boston. That means in 12 hours, those lobsters will be in a fancy restaurant in Boston, Massachusetts. We walk around the waterfront. I see fishing boats being repaired. I see rope and nets piled up. I see the buildings where fishing equipment is stored. This is a working waterfront, a place where real work happens, not a tourist spot, a place where fishermen work every single day. Around noon, we decide to have lunch. Jack says, "You want authentic Maine lunch?" Of course! We go to a place called Red's Eats. It's tiny, just a small shack on the waterfront. The owner is a woman in her 60s. Her name is actually Red. Jack, welcome. She's happy to see him. Red's is famous for one thing: lobster rolls. A lobster roll is simple: lobster meat mixed with a little mayonnaise served on a warm buttered bun. That's it. But when the lobster was caught this morning and the bun is fresh and the butter is real, it becomes magic. We sit on the waterfront with our lobster rolls. We watch the boats. We eat slowly and enjoy every bite. A couple, tourists from New York, sits next to us. "How do you eat this?" the woman asks, licking at her lobster roll nervously. Jack helps. "Just pick it up, eat it like sandwich, let the lobster meat fall out the side. That's okay. That means it's real lobster." The woman bites. Her eyes get big. "Oh my God," she says. "This is incredible." This is Maine. People help each other. People share their knowledge. People love their food. That afternoon, Jack and I drive to Stonington. Stonington is a smaller fishing town at the tip of a peninsula. Even more traditional, even more authentic. This is the real Maine, Jack says. Not the tourist Maine, the real Maine. The town is built on a hill overlooking the harbor. Everything is connected to fishing. We visit the Fisherman's Friend, a restaurant that's been open for 40 years. The walls are covered with photos of boats. The back booth, Jack points it out, is reserved for fishermen. This is unspoken tradition. Tourists never sit there. We meet an old man named Ed. He's 78 years old. He was a lobsterman for 55 years. Now he's retired, but he still comes here every day. Emma wants to know about Maine fishing, Jack tells him. Ed's eyes light up. For the next hour, Ed tells me stories, real stories, not tourist stories. "I started lobstering when I was 12 years old," Ed begins. "My father taught me, his father taught him. We didn't go to school to learn fishing. We learned by doing, by watching, by listening to the ocean. Ed pauses, looking out the window toward the harbor. In the 1960s, when I started, we caught lobsters. By hand sometimes. We knew where. They hid under the rocks. We felt the water temperature with our hands. We could predict where lobsters would be just by looking at the clouds, the wind direction, the ocean color. Can you still do that? I ask. Yes, Ed says. But now young fishermen, they have GPS, they have computers, they have technology. They can find lobsters easy, but they don't know the ocean, not in their bones, not in their soul. They don't listen to the water the way my grandfather did. They don't respect what the ocean teaches you. Ed's stories continue. One time in 1983, there was a storm. Bad storm. My boat was out on the water. Radio said, "Go back immediately." But I had a feeling in my bones that the dangerous part of the storm was coming from the east, not the north. So instead of going back to our Maine harbor, I went to a small protected cove that nobody used. Most fishermen went to the Maine harbor. That storm destroyed 15 boats in that harbor. But my boat was safe because I listened to my grandfather's teaching. What did your grandfather teach you? I ask, captivated. He taught me that the ocean is alive. She breathes, she changes, she tells you things if you listen. The color of the water, the way the light hits it, the birds, they all tell stories. The wind on your face, the smell of the air, it all means something. Ed's voice becomes softer, more emotional. You know, when my grandfather was dying, I was 25 years old. He called me to his bedside. He said, "Ed, you're going to live a long life on this ocean. The ocean will provide for you. But you must promise me one thing. You must respect her. You must never take more than you need. You must teach the young people to respect her too. Because if the young people don't learn to respect the ocean, one day there will be no ocean left." That was 50 years ago. Ed continues, and do you know what? He was right. The ocean is changing. The water is warmer now. Lobsters are migrating north. Fish species are disappearing. Climate is changing everything. Ed looks at me with sad eyes. I taught my son to fish the way my grandfather taught me. But my grandson? He doesn't want to fish. He wants to be a software engineer. I understand. The world is changing. But something will be lost when young people stop listening to the ocean. Something important will be lost. Stories about losing a son to the sea. Stories about the change in temperature of the ocean. How lobsters are migrating north now because water is warming. Stories about his grandfather, who could see the weather coming just by looking at the sky. My grandfather, Ed says, he never had a phone, never had a computer. He just knew. He knew when storm was coming. He knew where the lobsters would be. He knew the ocean like it was his own body. His eyes are far away, remembering. Now I see young fishermen with GPS, with computers, with technology. They can find lobsters easy, but they don't know the ocean. Not in their bones, not in their soul. They don't listen to the water the way my grandfather did. This is not just nostalgic story. This is wisdom being passed down. This is the heart of what it means to be a Maine lobsterman. I take notes. This is how language really works. Through stories, through emotions, through real human connection. That evening, Jack takes me to his neighbor's house. His name is Robert. Robert is a boat builder. He builds lobster boats. In the living room, I meet Robert's whole family. His wife, his children, his grandchildren. They're all somehow connected to fishing. Even the children, the grandchildren, they talk about boats and the ocean like it's in their blood. You want to see a lobster boat? Robert asks. Yes, I say, excited. We walk to his workshop. It's a huge building near the water. Inside, there's a boat, half finished. Beautiful wooden lobster boat. This is for a young fisherman, Robert explains. He wants to start lobstering. His father was lobsterman. His grandfather was lobsterman. Now I build boats for 3 generations sometime. Robert shows me the details. The way the bow is shaped, the way the cabin is designed. Every part has a purpose. Lobster boat must be strong, Robert says. Must survive the ocean. Must be fast. Must turn quick. Every line, every curve has meaning. It's boat building as art form. When we leave, the sun is setting. The sky is red and gold and purple. Jack drives us back to Rockland, slowly. You see, Jack says quietly, this isn't just work. This is culture. This is community. This is America. Not the America you see in movies. The real America. The America of family, hard work, respect for tradition, love for the ocean. We have dinner with Jack and Margaret at home. Margaret has prepared lobster, of course, but it's cooked simply, boiled in salt water, served with melted butter and lemon. Best way to eat lobster, Margaret says. You taste the flavor of the ocean. You don't cover it up with fancy sauce. We crack open the shells. We dip meat in butter. We eat slowly. We talk. Jack tells more stories. Margaret laughs. I'm learning not just English words, but American culture. After dinner, I help Margaret wash dishes. We stand at the sink together, our hands in warm, soapy water. Do you know what Jack really did today? Margaret asks me, quietly. What do you mean? He didn't just catch lobsters. He taught you something about who we are, about what matters. Jack does that. He brings people into his world. He shows them the ocean. He wants them to understand. I nod. I understand now. Later, before bed, I sit on the porch. I look at the ocean. In the darkness, I can hear waves. For 200 years, people in this town have sat on this same porch, looked at this same ocean, listened to the same waves. Nothing has changed, really. Technology has changed, the world has changed, but the relationship between humans and the ocean, that's eternal. The next morning, Sunday, I wake up at my normal time, 7 a.m. Jack is already out on the water. Margaret is making breakfast. You sleep good? She asks. Perfect, I'm so rested. Margaret smiles. That's Maine air. That's ocean air. That's good sleeping. We eat breakfast together. Eggs, toast, fresh fruit, strong coffee. After breakfast, I thank Jack and Margaret for everything. You're welcome back anytime, Margaret says, and I know she means it. I drive myself to Bar Harbor. This is the most famous beach town in Maine. Acadia National Park is here. The town is full of tourists. I count 5 bus tours just on the main street, but it's still beautiful. I walk around. I visit a bookstore. I buy a coffee at a local cafe. In the cafe, I meet a woman named Susan. She's a local. She's lived here for 40 years. Are you visiting? She asks, seeing that I'm a tourist. Yes, I was staying with a lobsterman in Rockland. Susan's face lights up. Really? That's wonderful. Most tourists just come for the scenery and the shopping. They don't understand real Maine. We talk for an hour. Susan tells me about the changes in Maine over the past 40 years. She tells me about the summer tourists. She tells me about the winter when the town is quiet. She shows me where to go for the best views. She recommends restaurants run by local families. This is the kind of connection that makes travel meaningful. Not just seeing a place, understanding a place, connecting with people who live there. I drive to Jordan Pond, a beautiful lake in Acadia National Park. The water is perfectly clear and blue. Mountains are reflected in the water like a mirror. I sit on the shore and just sit. I think about everything I've learned this weekend. I think about Jack and his family, about Ed and his stories, about Robert and his boat building. But I also think about English. I think about how these people, Jack, Margaret, Ed, Robert, Susan, they all taught me English. Not from a textbook, from their lives, from their stories, from their genuine connection and emotions. When Ed talked about his grandfather, I understood the word soul and bones, not from a dictionary, but from the emotion in his voice. I felt it in my heart, not just in my brain. When Jack explained why he loves his work, I understood the language of passion. I understood freedom. I understood legacy. When Margaret showed me how to cook lobster, I learned cooking, vocabulary naturally, without studying or taking notes. When Robert explained boat building, I learned precision and craftsmanship vocabulary through his hands, not through memorization. This is how we really learn languages, not from textbooks, from real life. I pull out my journal and write the vocabulary of Maine fishing: haul, trap, buoy, rebate, measure, release, sustainable, heritage, territory, sternman, gauge, lobster pound, working waterfront. But also, and more importantly, passion, tradition, freedom, community, respect, family, legacy, wisdom, resilience. When you learn these words, not from a list, but from watching people's lives, from hearing their stories, from feeling their emotions, these words stay with you forever. They're not just words. They're part of your understanding of the world. They're part of how you think now. This is why 1 hour with real English speakers, real stories, real emotions is worth more than 100 hours of grammar lessons. As the sun starts to set, I watch the light change on the water. Golden, pink, purple, blue. I think about Jack waking up at 4 a.m. tomorrow. I think about Ed sitting in the Fisherman's Friend, telling stories to anyone who will listen. I think about Robert in his workshop, building boats by hand. These people aren't just learning English. They're living it. They're breathing it. They're thinking in it. And now, because of this weekend, I am too. I walk back to my car slowly, trying to hold on to this feeling forever. That evening, I'm back at my hotel in Bar Harbor. I look out the window at the ocean. The sun is setting orange over the water. I think about everything I've learned this weekend. I think about the vocabulary I've heard: working waterfront, sustainable fishing, heritage and tradition, harbor community, fourth-generation fishermen, lobster culture, American coastal life, legacy, resilience, wisdom. But more than vocabulary, I think about the language patterns, the way Jack talks, the way Ed tells stories, the way Margaret describes her life, the way simple words can carry so much meaning when they come from the heart. I open my laptop and write down my goals for tomorrow. I want to describe my weekend to my colleagues at work in a natural, flowing way. I want to use the vocabulary naturally without thinking about it or translating in my head. I want to tell stories the way I heard them, with emotion, with pauses, with genuine feeling. I want to share the emotion and the lessons, not just the facts. I want to inspire others to think about their own stories and traditions. I practice. I say out loud, this weekend, I stayed with a lobsterman in Maine. His name is Jack. He's a fourth-generation lobsterman. Every morning he wakes up at 4 o'clock and goes to the ocean to haul his traps. He catches about 150 lobsters a day. He respects the ocean and the lobsters. He releases the small lobsters because he wants to protect the population for future generations. Lobster fishing is not just a job for Jack. It's his passion, his identity, his culture. It's his way of life. I say it again and again until the words feel natural, until the rhythm feels right, until I can feel the emotion in my own voice. This is what this weekend taught me. English is not about perfection. English is not about never making mistakes. English is about connection. English is about telling your story so that other people understand, not just the words, but your heart, your values, your world. I also think about Jack's philosophy of sustainable fishing. I think about Ed's wisdom, about respecting nature. I think about the way these communities have survived for centuries by respecting the ocean and each other. These are just nice stories. These are lessons about how to live. Before bed, I write a thank you text to Jack. Jack, thank you for showing me your world. Thank you for your patience and your teaching. I'll never forget this weekend. You showed me that work can be beautiful when it's connected to family, tradition, and respect for the ocean. Your English is my teacher, but your life is my true education. You've changed the way I think about language and life. Jack's response comes quickly. Emma, thank you for caring, to understand. Most tourists never do. They just take pictures and leave. You listened. You learned. You felt it. That's real. That's what matters. Come back next summer. Margaret wants to teach you to make lobster rolls. I smile. Yes, I'll come back. All right, my friends, we've lived a weekend in Maine together. You've learned about fishing vocabulary, trap, haul, buoy, measure, rebate, sustainable, daily routine language, wake up early, get dressed, go to work, come home. Emotion and relationship words, passion, tradition, freedom, family, respect. Storytelling, how to describe experiences with feeling, American coastal culture, lobster fishing, working waterfront, community. But now, the most important part, the 10 minutes where your mouth transforms. For the next 10 minutes, you're going to repeat after me. Don't think, don't worry about perfection. Just let the English flow from your mouth. These sentences might seem simple, but when you repeat them, really feeling the rhythm, really feeling the meaning, you're training your brain to think in English automatically. Ready? Let's begin. Pattern 1. Describing a weekend experience. Listen to the rhythm, feel the flow. This weekend, I went to Maine. Your turn. This weekend, I went to Maine. I stayed with a lobsterman. I stayed with a lobsterman. Every morning, I woke up very early. Every morning, I woke up very early. At 4 o'clock, I was awake and ready. At 4 o'clock, I was awake and ready. We went to the boat. We went to the boat. We caught many lobsters. We caught many lobsters. It was hard work. It was hard work. But it was beautiful. But it was beautiful. Pattern 2, talking about people and what they do. Feel the pattern, the rhythm of describing someone. Jack is a fisherman. Jack is a fisherman. He's a 4th-generation fisherman. He's a 4th-generation fisherman. His family has fished for 150 years. His family has fished for 150 years. He works very hard. He works very hard. He respects the ocean. He respects the ocean. He teaches young people. He teaches young people. He's passionate about his work. He's passionate about his work. His wife is named Margaret. His wife is named Margaret. Dawn. She's kind and strong. She's kind and strong. They love the ocean. They love the ocean. They love their community. They love their community. Pattern 3, sharing feelings and meaning. The most important pattern, the one that makes us human. This experience changed my perspective. This experience changed my perspective. I learned that work can be beautiful. I learned that work can be beautiful. When you do something you love, it doesn't feel like work. When you do something you love, it doesn't feel like work. Family traditions are powerful. Family traditions are powerful. Community matters. Community matters. Respect for nature is important. ... Respect for nature is important. I felt connected to the ocean. I felt connected to the ocean. I felt connected to Jack and his family. I felt connected to Jack and his family. I want to go back to Maine. I want to go back to Maine. I want to learn more about American culture. I want to learn more about American culture. This weekend was more than a vacation. This weekend was more than a vacation. It was an education. It was an education. It was a transformation. It was a transformation. Pattern 4, describing your own weekend now. This is your moment. Practice describing your real weekend. Use these patterns. Simple pattern. This weekend, I did something. It was adjective. I felt emotion. Try now. This weekend, I visited my family. It was wonderful. I felt happy. This weekend, I stayed home. It was relaxing. I felt peaceful. This weekend, I went to the market. It was interesting. I felt excited. Go ahead. Describe your weekend using the pattern. Don't stop. Just keep speaking. Bonus pattern, telling a short story. Here's the pattern of storytelling. Setting, where and when. Action, what happened. Feeling, how you felt. Meaning, what it meant to you. One morning I was with Jack on his fishing boat. The sun was rising over the ocean. It was beautiful and golden. We pulled up a trap. Inside, there was a small lobster. Jack measured her. She was too small, so he gently put her back in the water. I asked, "Why do you release the small ones?" Jack said, "Because she needs to grow. She needs to live her life in the ocean. Maybe someday someone will catch her when she's bigger. Maybe her children will live in this ocean." I understood then that fishing is not just about catching. It's about respect. It's about the future. It was the most meaningful moment of my weekend. Now you try. Tell a short story from your life using this pattern. Don't think, just speak. You did it. You just practiced English for 10 minutes straight, describing experiences, telling stories, using emotion and rhythm. How does your mouth feel now? Does the English feel more natural? Can you feel your brain starting to think in English patterns? This is the magic. This is what happens when you practice shadowing, repeating real English from real stories. Remember this. The lobsters you learned about, they're not just food. They're teachers. They taught you that tradition matters, family matters, respect for nature matters. The fishermen you learned about, they're not just workers. They're examples of passion, dedication, and hard work. The Maine coast, it's not just a pretty place. It's a culture. It's a way of life. It's real America. Every weekend, every conversation, every moment of your life is a teaching opportunity in English. Notice it, listen to it, feel it, repeat it, and slowly, your English will transform. Not because you studied grammar rules, but because you lived English. You experienced English. You felt English in your bones. Here's your challenge for this week. Describe one weekend experience to a friend. Tell them about something you did. Tell them how you felt. Tell them what it meant to you. Don't write it down. Don't prepare it. Just tell them the way Jack told me about his life. The way Ed told me about his grandfather. The way Margaret showed me how to cook. Tell your story. Own your English. Be brave. Thank you for spending this hour with me. Thank you for your dedication to learning. Thank you for your courage to step outside your comfort zone. Your English journey is inspiring. This is Emma from Speak English Daily, wishing you sweet dreams, confident conversations, and your own amazing adventures. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and remember, you're doing amazingly well. Until next time, my wonderful English learning friends, keep speaking, keep dreaming, keep growing. Sleep well.